Yes, yes, yes. It is a Castworthy podcast, and we are back. Two of us at least. It's a two-man gang today. It is December 22nd. My name is Last of a Dying Breed, aka Big Steve, or Big Steve, aka Last of a Dying Breed, on the X Machine, joined by EJ, the sophisticated savage. Today, the VP is MIA. Not feeling too well this fine morning going into the holiday, so he got a day off. He got a day off. Take care of his health before Christmas and New Year's pop in. But it's Sunday, December 22nd,
He's
and
on load.
he's on what?
He's on load management.
Load management. That's right. That's what I'd be load. Never mind. That's what I'd be managing.
Hey,
Yo, what is that? Um, what's good, man? 3 days till Christmas. 3 days till Christmas. You got your Christmas shopping done?
yeah, everything's ready to go. Tree. Only thing
And
missing is liquor.
got candy for the stockings?
No, because the
Mm.
dentist is real. Fuck candy.
Uh, mm. So what you gonna put like broccoli and shit in there? Piece of shit. You gotta put some. You gotta put some candy in there. Some candy canes, some chocolate. Uh, scratch offs for the adults and shit. You went shopping for the missus, or did you break up and gonna get back together like on the 27th? Damn, I really missed you for Christmas.
Nah. Nah, it's too late. I already did all the shopping.
Mm, okay, all right. Well, you're ahead of time. You're ahead of time. I went last weekend. It's a zoo out here in these streets, yo. It was a zoo. Actually, it was good to be in the mall and that shit actually had people in it. Because, the mall's brick and mortar has been fucking dying thanks to Amazon and all that shit. So anytime I go in there to pick something up real quick, it should be dead. But last week it was a zoo. It was a zoo.
Get to see the sights.
Get to see the sights. Get to see the sights. Unfortunately, this weather that we got today is kind of cold here. In the 40s. We didn't have this last week. If we had this last week, it'd have been leggings galore and you know all the goods,
Mm,
all the
in the
goods. But it
40s,
was
eh?
warm last. Yeah,
It's,
40s this morning at least.
it's about 20 here.
Oh, that's not too bad. That's not too
I don't
bad.
know.
What was it yesterday? It looked
About
cold.
the
I was
same.
watching the
Wind
Baltimore
chill
game
was
yesterday.
that wind chill was yo.
But
Windy as shit
but
last night.
last night, you do anything fun last night? What did you do last night?
Mm,
Wait, before you answer that, was the missus in town last night?
Yeah, she's with me. Went
Okay,
to
all right. Then
ugly
you
sweater
then you
party.
could tell me what you did last night. And what kind?
Went
What
to ugly
kind
sweater party.
did you wear a jet sweater?
I should have. No, I did not. I just wore
Do you
whatever
have
I
an
could
ugly
find.
sweater?
No, I wasn't prepared for that. I just wore a Christmas shirt the best I could, and
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'll work on
I
getting
was
an ugly
actually
sweater next
looking.
year.
I got to go through my closet. I know I got two of them in there. I got a Wu Tang one that I'll probably wear. I got a little ugly sweater thing on Monday, so I'll probably wear the Wu Tang one. I'm looking to see if I can see it right now. If not, I'll just wear my little Christmas story
Wu-Tang
joint.
ugly sweater.
Yeah, it's a Wu Tang ugly sweater.
Mm.
They ain't
Wu-Tang's
nothing
for
to
the
fuck with.
children.
They are for the children. They
Hmm.
absolutely are.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, man. So, ugly sweater party last night. Libations were in order.
Yeah, it has some bourbon, coquito, and Indian food.
Bourbon, coquito, and Indian food. Let's break this down. Bourbon, which I mean, it's just alcohol, right? Was it like Christmas themed alcohol, like spiced, cinnamon or some shit like that? Nothing like that. Just some straight bourbon.
Straight bourbon.
All right, okay. So, so straight bourbon, coquito, which has rum in it, and
Hmm.
and cream, and condensed milk, and then you chase that down with Indian food,
Hmm.
right?
Acid
Was it like
reflux.
ass? Yeah, ass reflux. That's what you're about to have. Your ass is about to have reflux all day. You're gonna be shitting blood at some point. Oh man, all that
Nasty work.
that curry.
Food was great though. Food was
Oh, I'm
great though.
sure. I'm sure Indian food is good. I just don't know if it's good to mix with milk or condensed milk and cream and coconut and fucking. Whoo, yeah. You about that? But
Yeah.
man, you
Monday
could do that
morning
at
go
20, not at 40.
Monday morning going into work might be interesting.
Yeah, because you still got a whole nother day of drinking today for football while we play our fantasy matchup, you and I.
Yeah. How about that? How about that?
Yeah, it's not looking. I mean, I ended up pulling it out last week, even though I thought I was gonna lose. Going into Monday, and ended up having some good pieces. Last week. When I went into Monday, I had uh, fuck, I forget. I completely forgot, but I got some big numbers on Monday, and then he had the running back from the Raiders, who got hurt, and I ended up winning, and I didn't think I was going to win going into Monday, so that was a good thing. But then this week, you and I are up. You had Patrick Mahomes yesterday, who I think Patrick Mahomes is just a little bitch. It's one of two things: either he's a little bitch and
Damn.
doesn't have pain tolerance, because this motherfucker always he looked like he looked like he dying on the field one week, and then the next week they'd be like, "Oh, he's fine. Oh, he just has really good joints and bones." Get the fuck out of here! No, I think he just got fucking.
I shout out to Patrick Mahomes, man, because he looked like he was hurt, but he came through. And honestly, he should have had about 4 touchdowns yesterday. Motherfuckers was dropping it. I was sick. I was like, you rat bastards. He should have had at least 4 touchdowns yesterday.
I mean, if he really had a high ankle sprain, then he should have probably been hurt 4 times yesterday too. Old bitch ass. He pulled a Paul Pierce. That's what he'd be doing. He'd be trying to act like he hurt so that he can come out and they'd be like, "Oh, it's a miracle. Look at this. He's such a good player. He's conditioning is top tier. Fuck out of here, Patrick Mahomes, little bitch."
The boy
Um,
could throw though. The boy can throw. He can
you
play
had him.
quarterback.
You had him.
Yes. Hmm.
And I mean, a lot of people could play quarterback if you got the refs on your side. I mean,
That too. And I wasn't mad at it yesterday.
I mean,
It's a
my
fumble.
man,
Nah, incomplete pass.
nah, incomplete pass and roughing the passer. How about that? We gonna give him 15 yards on top of it. Come on, man. The NFL is wild, yo.
Yeah. I wasn't mad at it.
NFL is wild. And then
I
we
needed it.
gonna have to sit
I
through
was
that
just
shit on Christmas.
You're right. I was just happy that Lamar won the game, but
Who?
didn't kill me in fantasy. Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, he was playing Pittsburgh. I wasn't sure if I wanted to play him or Jaden Daniels, but Jaden Daniels has Philly's defense, and Philly's defense is pretty good too. So, and he's young, so I was like, well, you got to go with the guy that got you here, and hopefully you'll get it done. I mean, he had good numbers. He canceled out Patrick, which was all I was really hoping for. Um, but stupid me not paying attention. I left some people in there that I probably shouldn't have, like Miller from the Saints. I probably should have pulled him out and put To switch that out, probably put in
Tank Dell.
Tank Dell. Yeah, I should have had Tank Dell in there at my flex, and because of that, I left 20 points on the bench, which is now in the player pool because I needed a kicker. So since I didn't start him, I just dropped him. But I mean, it should be a good game for both of us. It should be a really good matchup. Yahoo has us predicted as a 5 point differential, and by the looks of it, really is going to come down to performers versus underperformers. It looks like so, like bum ass Marvin Harrison Jr., who ain't been doing shit all year. Now would be a good time to show up against Carolina.
Yeah, I was gonna start Kyler Murray against Carolina. Just I couldn't find myself to do it. I had to go with the Warhorse, Patrick Mahomes. I needed a solid 20 something. Long as Lamar
Warhorse
didn't give me that 45 that he did last
last
week,
week.
I was good. I was like,
Yeah,
45 piece would have killed me.
Lamar ate up decently 27. Um, but yeah, man, we're gonna see. We'll see. Martin Harrison against Carolina. If he don't show up today, he's truly on bust alert, in my opinion. From a rookie standpoint, like this dude he just and it. I don't know if it's him or if it's Kyler. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Definitely
but
Kyler.
McBride is eating. Michael, I forget the other dude's name over there. It's their wide receiver 2. Greg Dortch, their wide receiver 3. Everybody else is getting right over there in Arizona, but Marvin Harrison, he be dropping shit. Like he dropped 2 touchdowns last week. It was yeah, he got to get shorthanded, man. He can't be carrying that name and playing like shit.
Let's hope he does again today. Because I need to win.
Yeah.
I need
I
to
hope
win.
Nah, that can't happen. I need the Giants defense to pop out and show something. You got Bijan Robinson over there. I'm worried about against the Giants. Hopefully their defense shows up and they make Michael Penix beat them, and they keep Bijan in the pocket, or in the backfield rather.
I
And
didn't even
hopefully,
realize I didn't even realize Zay Flowers ended up with 15.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was garbage time last drive that they were on. Lamar throws a 50-yard bomb to this dude, 49 yards. For no damn reason, and then they end up kicking the field goal instead of going instead of going and trying to fucking score again. God, piece of shit, Baltimore Ravens, yo. Uh, yeah, man.
Excellent. Outstanding. Outstanding.
Divisional game, Cincinnati and Cleveland. You got two of the wide receivers in that game. That's going to be interesting to watch. T. Higgins and Jerry Judy. I'll be watching that game closely. Um, I'm on Ross St. Brown. I got him going against Chicago and Justin Jefferson against Seattle. Those two guys should kind of cancel out. Josh Jacobs and Chuba Hubbard. New Orleans defense is not that good, so Jacobs will probably eat a little bit. And then it's going to come down really to Kincaid, Kittle, and then Rico Dowdle and Miller from New Orleans. So it's going to be interesting. And you got Green Bay's defense going up against New Orleans' shitty ass. They're starting that kid, that
Offense.
receiver. So
I
it's
kind
going to
of
be an uphill battle, it looks like.
I, I won't be surprised if Higgins and Judy both don't do jack shit for me.
That'd be
I'm
great.
hoping, yeah, I'm hoping that by the time Justin Jefferson plays, that they kind of have the seating and the standings kind of maybe worked out with Detroit's game. I mean, I feel like
Well,
at
no.
some point one of these teams got to take the foot off the gas.
Well, that's the good thing about that for me. Detroit and Minnesota play each other the last week. So those guys have to play, and they got the same schedule or the same record today. So those guys
Hmm.
have to play. There's no sitting those guys, so that's a good thing, I think. Um and you don't have anyone really on your team right now that's looking like they would be sad either. So And similarly, if you get through till next week, I don't think you have anyone that'll be sat. Similarly, on my side, I don't think I have anyone that would be sat down. So maybe Lamar because they can't win anything more than the division, so that's possible.
Right.
But uh, maybe Pat since they've locked up number one, so that could be an issue for you next week. But you got some backups, so but we'll see, man.
You
It
got
looks
Bo
like it's gonna
Nix.
be you got Bo, you got Bo. Bo knows
Mhm.
football. We we'll have a good
Yo,
matchup.
yo, before we go any further, rest in peace, man, to one of the GOATs, Ricky Henderson.
The goat, doesn't he lead? Well, I mean, as far as stolen bases go, right? Stolen bases and speed and Rick the Quick.
Yeah, man, one of my favorite players of all time.
Yeah, he
Of
was
all
always
time.
one of your favorites. You used to love that guy. You and your big cousin used to love that guy. And I liked Ricky Henderson a little bit, and I think he got overshadowed a little bit in Oakland when he because Canseco was there and Mark McGuire and they and Dennis
Keon
Eckersley and
B.
yeah, they had a little bit of a squad. So I think they valued him stealing bases, but I think he got overshadowed a little bit in star power. But and then he came to New York, and we know how to treat stars in New York. So when he was on
Mhm.
the Yankees, he got his flowers. He got his flowers. People really talked about, what he brought to the team. And yeah, man, Ricky Henderson, 65 years old, man. That's young for like an athlete, somebody that would be in prime, shape, you would think, throughout the bulk of their lives.
Mhm.
Um,
He was always in good shape. Even in his older days, it seemed like he was in good shape.
yeah. You have to think, right? A lot of those guys I was watching some videos the other day of like Daryl Strawberry punching people in the face and shit. And a lot of those guys was on that shit. So you know, it could be
Yeah,
that caught up to him.
sugar.
Be in the greatest shape that you want. Don't really matter if that stuff catches up to you. Hopefully that's not the case for Ricky Henderson. Um Stolen base leader. Not sure it'll ever be caught, man. I mean, in time maybe
Never.
now with the pitch clock, the pitch clock if you get someone that comes in now that's just a speedster and they start stealing bases from the time they get in the league until the time they get out of there. Pitch clock is making steals relevant again,
Mhm.
so it's possible, but anytime the game changes like that, you got to start to talk about these records, and when people do finally break them, like how much more challenging it was for these guys to get these records. Like, you know what I mean? Like for Ricky
Mhm.
Henderson to break that when there's uh, no pitch clock is a whole different story than someone that comes close today.
Yeah, I think only I can't remember the kid's name, but it's one of those kids out there that he's doing this thing stealing bases, but a lot of these kids aren't intentional about stealing bases. It's almost like a lost art of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the guy. It's the guy. It's similar to basketball, right? And we'll get to that, but like the basketball has become about the 3 point. It's not so much about getting in the hole. Pause. Um, and similarly with baseball, it's kind of like the long ball. You see these teams stacking their lineups with power guys. We see Judge. We saw how they stacked Judge and fucking Soto, and now we're gonna see Soto go over to the Mets, and a lot of these franchises and managers are not thinking about the small ball, the stolen bases, the getting on base, the guys to actually uh to bat them in. So yeah, the game has changed. Both all the games are changing really at this point.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely right. And I think that's the difference maker, between winning the World Series and showing up, right? Who do you pitch to? What situations, where the ball's going, stolen bases, the little things that matter. I think the Mets did a good job of doing that this year.
I don't see Ricky Henderson getting caught. Now that I'm looking at it, 1,400. Modern day, the closest person that's gotten, the person that's gotten closest to him. Oh, sorry, wrong person. I thought that was somebody else. Damn, nobody recently. When I saw Billy Hamilton, I was thinking Billy
Nobody even close.
Hamilton. Yeah, I saw Billy Hamilton. I was thinking the recent Billy Hamilton, the black kid, but that's not him. This is Billy Hamilton from 1901. Sliding Billy, they called him. Pause. Ooh, that's what a name to have, huh? Kenny Lofton, 622, like bigger names. Juan Pierre had a lot, 614. Like, but number two was Lou Brock, 938. Billy Hamilton, 914. Ty Cobb had 897. Tim Raines, 808. This goes and it just goes back from there. You know what I mean? Like I don't see anybody catching this guy. Shit,
Yeah,
Barry Bonds had 514 stolen bases. Did you know that?
yeah, that's why Barry Bonds is in a lot of people's eyes the GOAT. He stole bases, he was Golden Gloves. This guy did it all. You know, Ricky
Yep.
Henderson, Ozzie Smith, Barry Bonds, some of my favorite players of all time.
Yep. Ozzy is one of them that's on that list also. Um
Hmm.
Fred Clark, believe it or oh, that's the old. Never mind, it's not the black Fred Clark. I was saying, nah, ain't no way. Ichiro Suzuki is on that list. Jimmy Rollins. There's some notable names on here, man. There's definitely some notable. Bobby Bonds had 461. Steve Sachs is on there, 444. Uh, yeah, man. But shout out to Ricky Henderson, man. Rest in peace. 65 years young. Um, you know, well wishes to his family, friends, loved ones, and you know, one of the goats, man. One of the goats. If you're
Definitely.
unfamiliar with his game, I suggest going and doing some YouTube searches and just seeing how this man used to swipe bases. It was just crazy.
It was a clutch hitter. He was a clutch hitter as well.
And a clutch hitter. The crazy part is, like, I remember Ricky Henderson breaking Lou Brock's record, and I thought that was towards the end of his career, and he still stole 500 more bases after that, yo. Like, I
Yeah.
remember when he did that and he, like, took the base off, and
Hmm.
held it up above his head, like, on TV. Like, I remember that.
Hmm. He quietly then stole like
Ouchies.
he quietly then stole like 1,000
Another
more.
500. Dog, he stole another 500, which would put him at, like, 35th overall just by the amount that he had after he broke the record, yo. Yeah,
Insane.
he's a wild boy. Ain't no catching that,
He
man.
was one of them ones.
Ain't no catching that. Speaking of
One
breaking
of them
records,
ones.
LeBron broke a record this week for the most minutes played in NBA history. Most minutes played in NBA history. What do you think of that?
I mean, he played since high school, which, gave him an advantage that many others didn't have. However, it's also a testament to how healthy he's been able to be. He's true Iron Man. He's up there with Eli Manning and guys like that. Even though he did the low management piece, he did play a lot. He's played the last, what, 21 years?
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, and even with you know sitting out and, like you said, load management and stuff like that, he's still 57,471 minutes. I'm sorry, 57,447 minutes to break the record. 57,471 is what he ended the game with, and still counting for LeBron. Actually, I'm sorry, I'm looking at something else.
Yeah, still
Sixty-six
counting
thousand. Sixty-six
still
thousand.
counting is the piece, man. Because I mean, this guy's still playing at an optimal level, and I don't know how many seasons he plans to have, but
I think he
man, I
gets
mean, when
one
is he gonna
more.
stop?
I think he gets at least one more. He's gonna play. I mean, he seems like he's at a point now. Like even in the post game, they were like, "So what are you gonna? What's next now that you've broken this record?" And he's like, "I'm not even thinking about the next game. I'm gonna go home, have some wine, play some
Play some
Madden."
Madden.
Like it's almost like. And then earlier this season, we saw him criticizing and saying like we got to do our thing, we got to do our best part. This is not on JJ Redick. This is on like you're starting to see he's starting to get a little fed up, I think, and we talked about it last year going into this year. I mean, it's clear that he should be frustrated because he's gone from where he used to be able to take the game and control the game and change the game and turn the game from where maybe they're losing or close to losing to a guaranteed win or at least being very competitive and them ending up sliding in, sneaking it out. Now he doesn't kind of have that command anymore, which rightfully so. He's almost 40 years old. You're talking about 20, like you said, 20 plus years running in the league. These kids are younger. Like you need teammates at this age. Like you got to at some point become a facilitator. It's like Tom Brady up in New England, and then he comes down to Tampa Bay, and you got some young receivers and Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. You got some running backs, and you got some defense to help keep the score low. So you only got to do but so much. Like when you get later in your career, you got to get help in these areas, and LeBron is just not getting that help. And even with AD performing, it's not enough, yo. It just is not enough.
Yeah, and it seems like every year we talk about, when he leaves and what the impact will be. I just don't feel like he's ready for that, and I don't feel like the league. I feel like he knows that, and I feel like the league isn't ready for that yet.
Yeah. I think LeBron, he's going to give us that "this is my last year" speech or announcement so that he can do his tour, his final tour, people can plan for it. He's going to sell out every arena that year. The year he said, if he comes out in this offseason, he's like, yo, I'm going to play one more year. It's going to be my last year. Hopefully, we can get Bronny up from the G League and spend some time together on the court, but this is going to be my last year. Every single Lakers game sells out, road and home,
Yeah, no question.
immediately. You know what I mean? Um, so and I could see that coming. So now's a good time, right, for people to start planning ahead, at least for next year or two. If you already have season tickets, or if you don't, get those early, get the early tickets because those are going to be expensive tickets too. Every night in that season, there's going to be new records being broken, right? He already has the most points. So every night that he scores, he's breaking a scoring record. Every night that he plays, he's breaking a minutes record. And then there's going to be other stuff that starts to, just with longevity, that you start to hold every record, you know? So,
Yeah. Hmm. I let me ask you this: even though he's won multiple championships in Miami, does it feel like his time in LA is more iconic than it was in Miami?
hmm, maybe, maybe. That's a good question. I think there's more impactful events that have taken place in Los Angeles, right? So like during the or not the lockout, during COVID when they had to go down into the bubble and the George Floyd thing happened and we're protesting and he calls for the guys to sit out and the league stops. You know what I'm saying? Like the league stops. There's no games being played. Not because the NBA said, "Yo, we're not playing games," because the players followed LeBron and other voices to say, "Nah, we're not playing until y'all do something or say something." Right now, and then they come out with Black Lives Matter on the court and on the jerseys, and it takes everybody, and they start doing the commercials and stuff. So you got that level of impact there. You got the records he's breaking regularly. The fact that it's LA, and less of a team. Like I mean, AD. and some other supporting people. There was some years he didn't do so great in LA where he had like Melo, and that one year where they had Melo and Rondo and fucking everyone under the sun, and it just didn't kind of work out in LA. That was more comparable
Hmm.
to the Heat, I think. But other than that year, he hasn't had the supporting cast, and he's still been kind of showing up and doing what he does. Not winning though, but so I think more impact though, more impactful stuff in LA than Miami, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you went, you made the fiasco. He almost tarnished his career for a bit with the decision, and then you go, join Batman and Chris Bosh, and you win those, and then firstly you couldn't beat Dirk by itself, so um, and it's Miami. Like, even Miami, they don't treat Dwayne Wade right. You know, it's like, I don't know. It feels like the Lakers stint meant more to basketball than that Miami stint.
Yeah, and then of
DP's gonna
course,
hate this take, but it is what it is.
yeah, and of course, going into the Olympics, right? That Olympic run was big this past summer. Him being one of the captains of Team USA, not basketball, Team USA across. You know what I mean? Like that's big. That's big. Being the face of the country going into the Olympics. So, um, yeah,
And like
yeah, and
his last medal,
yeah, definitely, I think so.
likely his last medal
Unless
for sure. Mm.
aside from being like a coach or some other shit, but as a player, I think you're right. But yeah, so with that,
Mhm.
I think he's more passionate about his. It shows that it appears that he's been more passionate about his time and the years that he spent in LA, um than Miami. And Miami, while he was the star, he was still a shared star. And to your point, he was coming off of and dealing with a lot of scrutiny from the decision, from the teaming up and stuff like that. And even though today you still have those conversations when you start to talk about legacy and greatest of all time, it's not every conversation. Like if you remember when he started in Miami, that was every conversation, every talking head. Either they were loving him or they were talking about, look, this guy can't do it on his own. We told you he's not Jordan, blah blah blah, right? These last few years went back to Cleveland, did his thing, obviously teamed up there, came out to LA, and now it's more about LeBron and what he's bringing to that team with AD there to help than the other one. So, but the one thing I will say, man, and I've said it before, as much shit as we talk about the guy, like, and really it's not shit. It's more of the just like that he's not better than Jordan type thing. Um, he like we have to enjoy it while it's here, because this might be like this career that we've seen might be the best. I think it's the best career that we've seen career wise across sports ever. The close, maybe Tom Brady, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but still, length of time of being one of, if not the top player in the league, year after year after year after year, winning here, winning there, um, impact off the court, representing us, black people, having a voice in some big spaces, making really good business moves, teaching people about that. Like, this might be the best career we've ever seen. Game style, all of that. Like, just stuff that we probably will never see again, at least in our lifetime, I don't think.
Yeah, when you look across the sports, Tom Brady, Derek Jeter, these are two guys that are comparable in career, right? You got winning, you got longevity, you got class, you got representation. Um, yeah, man. I mean, we've always given LeBron his shit, but we also have always acknowledged his greatness. Um, and it's gonna be a sad day when he leaves. And we're still, again, this is the problem we always talk about. Who is the next guy in the NBA to carry the torch. And we know it ain't John Morant. We know that. Anthony Edwards, I don't think so. I'm gonna throw out a name, right? That I think could do it. I don't think wants to do it. He's gonna have to win to do it. And I don't want to sound biased, but I'm gonna say Jalen Brunson.
I'm just gonna ignore that. I'm gonna act like I didn't hear
Why
it.
not?
What?
Why not Jalen Brunson?
What? All right, dog.
Why not
Stop.
Jalen Brunson?
Stop.
No? Okay. All right.
No,
Why not?
he's not marketable. Jalen Brunson's not marketable. He's marketable in New York only because they haven't won, and he came in and won. But like, I don't think Jalen Brunson translates to global sales, global jersey sales, global like John Moran is one of them, but unfortunately, he can't keep himself out of trouble, and he can't shut up and play the game. Like everything has to be a show, theatrics. He's got to be beefing on the court. Anthony Edwards is still immature. He might mature into that, but you hear him this year complaining about, "Oh, we don't have any personality. We have no identity. We can't score. We suck on offense." You know, like you're hearing him say stuff that you wouldn't want to hear from a guy that you plan to be the next face of the league. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's gonna be, and they're gonna continue to push it. It will end up being why am I forgetting? Why is his name escaping me? Boston.
Tatum or
It'll be
Jalen Brown?
Tatum. It'll be Tatum.
Hmm.
And it's not. I don't think it's gonna be that he's not going to be a fan appointed one, right? Like LeBron was a fan appointed face of the league. He came
Right.
into the league, expectations were high, people loved him or hated him, right? Tatum is, I think he's going to be a league appointed, especially if they can't find somebody else to do it. Someone that automatically does it by the fans, or is appointed by the fans. I do think they're gonna try and push Tatum. One, he's in a market. He's part of Boston. They're the winningest franchise in NBA history. He's a clean kid. You don't hear him in trouble. Sure, it gets a little boring seeing him constantly Dickie and Kobe, but he's still paying that homage. Um, he brings Deuce around. Everyone seems to love Deuce. Everyone seems to love him when they see him on the court after the games. Like from a league standpoint, I have to assume that they look at this guy and they're like, all right, he's marketable. And he's light skinned. He's light skinned with good hair, so you can
But they're
market him
boring.
to.
They're boring though. They're boring though. I mean, they've won the championship, and we still aren't saying he's the face of the league now. They're boring as fuck. Like they're quietly, possibly in position to run it all the way back and win it again, and no one cares. They're boring as shit. They may be the most boring Boston product of professional sports to ever exist. I say Jalen Brunson because right, he has an ability to. I think once if he ever wins, God, hopefully he wins in New York a championship. I think that will make room for him to do other things that New York can bring. You figure if he brings the Knicks a title with all of that international connection they have, he could possibly wind up being the face. Him and Josh Hart and the comedy they have there. He's a clean guy. He's married. He's light skinned. I think it's possible. I think it's possible.
Okay, okay,
Hey,
if you
I'm just
say
saying.
so.
I'm just saying. It's possible. He's an unlikely pick, but I mean, again, to overall point, we don't have a clear favorite. I mean, because Tatum, while he makes sense, he still ain't it.
Who else is? I mean, that I think the NBA is in a bad spot right now. I mean, even LeBron came out and said it
Mhm.
in an interview after the game last week. Like, where is our game at? And the ratings have declined significantly year after year. The game has changed significantly. The NFL is impeding on their space. Like the NFL is taking Christmas Day. The NFL not only said, "Yo, I'm taking Christmas Day from you, motherfuckers. I'm gonna take the Saturday before Christmas Day." Our golden boy, whose team is attached to Taylor Swift on TV the Saturday before. We're gonna run our games all day Sunday and Monday, and then 2 days later, we're gonna take your Christmas Day and put our golden boy back up on there again, and Lamar Jackson back up on that motherfucker again. Like the NFL is disrespectful, yo. If I was the NBA, if I was Baldy, I forget his name, not David Stern, forget his new
Silver.
name. If I was Adam
Silver.
Silver, I'd be mad. I'd be hot.
Nigga said new name.
Yeah, yo, I would be hot, yo. I would be, and the thing about it is, it all comes down to being able to be marketed, right? Marketability, and the NFL is marketable no matter what. Like we've seen them go through. We've seen the Kaepernick thing where black people said we not fucking you know, with the NFL because of him. White people said we not fucking with the NFL because of him. At the same time, and the NFL still made it through that. We're seeing the Trump thing where these guys are out here doing the fucking Trump dance, and people are like, "Fuck MAGA, fuck Trump." But they still pick up and watch the NFL every Sunday, every Monday, every Thursday. Like there's nothing like it, yo. Nothing. Even America's pastime, baseball, it can't compete. Like the NFL's got, I don't know. I don't and the thing about it is they change the game every year and people get frustrated about the changes and frustrated about the calls and the refs and the bad officiating. And guess what? We still come back. It's like that bitch that got the best head. She got the dome, and you like, she can't do no wrong. And then she do something wrong, and you still like, you like, you know what? She my throat goat though. Like,
It,
I can't. You know what I mean?
the
I can't quit
NFL,
her.
the NFL is the first baddie you've ever had that she was actually really cool, into sports, into comics, had great sex, but she got drunk and wanted to fight you every time, and then she cheats on
Cheated,
you.
cheated on you.
And
Yeah.
then you come back every time. You run into each other, and you're like, I know I should leave it alone,
Mhm.
and you wind up going back every single time. That's the NFL. The NFL is king. It can't be beaten, undefeated, because it
Yeah.
gives you something that you don't have. The element of football. Football is one of the toughest sports I've ever personally played. And the fact that it's only 17 games now versus the NBA playing a million games. We've already said that shit in itself is old. It gets old. These motherfuckers playing a million games. I think if we get more emphasis on that little preseason, whatever this is kind of cup thing, that might be, better. But they play a million games. It just doesn't feel like it's worth anything until February.
They need to have. They should maybe they should break it into two halves, right? And
Yes.
like you're saying, take that in season tournament and don't have anybody else play during that time. Like when you have that in season tournament, you have the top 8 teams or whatever it is that you want, and you say, we're breaking everybody, everyone else is on hiatus. These are the only games we're going to play, and we're going to give you 2 games a night or something like that until we get to the final 2 rounds, and then you get 1 game a night, and then you're commanding just like playoff basketball has good ratings, just like football, just like playoff football, just like playoff baseball, good ratings because it's supply and demand. People are missing it. There's not a lot around. But if at any given time, like you're telling me the NBA ratings are bad, but the game of the night is the fucking Sacramento Kings versus Charlotte Bobcats or Hornets or whatever they are today. You know what I mean? Or New Orleans, with Zion hurt constantly. Like it's just, you got Philly, right? And Embiid, another one. always hurt. They've kind of turned this league. They've turned the NBA so damn soft, which is one thing you gotta respect about LeBron. Like, people call it longevity, and sure, he sat out some games for minutes and stuff like that, but I think he understands the importance of being available. You know what I mean? He understands that your best ability is availability, and this
Mhm.
guy knows that he's marketable. He knows that his team can't win without him. He knows that there's value there. Like, and these other guys are just like, no, my toe is bothering me. I'm never fucking Embiid said I don't think I'm ever gonna play back to backs again. Not because the doctor
Came
said
out
so.
came out his
Not,
mouth. Not to mention you got playoff P. They calling him podcast P. You know what I'm saying? This dude, and again, you we have not been able to identify that guy, that Dr. J, that LeBron, that Michael, that just makes you have must see basketball. I can't. Who playing tonight? I can't miss it. We don't have it.
right.
It doesn't exist. It does not exist.
Yeah, they got to figure something out, man. And they're talking about, oh, we're gonna change the All Star game format to make that better. Well, I mean, I know All Star game has been funky because they just do whatever on that Sunday, but some people actually appreciate that. Like, I get a kick out of seeing them have fun and get those back and forth, 50-foot jump shot. The problem is it's turning into everyday basketball. You know what I'm saying? Like, where you would only see that on All Star Sunday, you see Steph Curry pull up from half court, then Dame come down, pull up from half court, then Steph come down and back and forth on. It would only be All Star Sunday. Now you're seeing that on Tuesday and fucking in October. You know what I'm saying? And so, what's special about it? I think that's part of the issue, man. I don't know, man. The NBA's got a problem. They have a problem.
Yeah, how many times are they gonna adjust this shit? They've adjusted it like what, at least 4 or 5 times recently.
Yep. I'm looking to see who else
They've
could
added new events.
potentially.
They've done this.
I
They
mean,
had street ballers. They had different dunkers. They brought in the WNBA. I mean, what else are they gonna do?
yeah. I'm just looking at the team list and I can't see. I mean, Trey Young ain't it. Golden State is aging out. We talked about Minnesota. Washington ain't got shit. Giannis, man, international. Boston, we talked about, has somebody. Chicago, not so much. They probably could have had Josh Giddey if he wasn't, on his Drake shit. Um, Philly, nope. Cleveland, nope. Portland, San Antonio, Wemby, still international. So, America first, of course, is coming for the next 4 years. So that's probably not going to happen. Luca, uh, Phoenix, maybe. If he can get consistent, we can see the book. But no, I'm thinking Tatum. Kate Cunningham is another one. If they could ever start being good, like, he's in Detroit, balling, and he's a likable kid. He's nice. Like, in ball, I mean, the problem is nobody's gonna turn on a fucking Detroit Pistons game. They suck. Even though they beat Phoenix last night, they still suck. Or, could it be Paolo Banchero? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know where the league is going. Paulo has what it takes to. I
I
mean, he's a light skinned guy, great smile. Like, he's always happy. Good
can't
player.
say
He's hurt
Paulo.
this year, but
Paulo don't even sell out Orlando Magic games.
he does
Orlando
sell
is
Orlando
just
Magic game.
when the
He's
when
just
the
not
Knicks
playing
when
right
the
now. He's
Knicks
hurt.
when the Knicks play Orlando, it's a Knicks home game because of all of the
He's
New
hurt.
Yorkers there.
He's
True,
hurt.
but Orlando is not the market that's going to take him international. We both know that.
No, not Orlando. Not unless they win, right? Like, and when I mean, it's not like they're not playing good, and he's not even in. Him and Franz Wagner are both out, and these guys are, and Orlando is still in the mix. They're fourth in the East right now with those guys out. And before they
Mhm.
went out, they were like top three. They were right behind. It was Boston, New York, and then them. Now Cleveland is caught up, and they're number one. Cleveland is quiet, yo. That's a quiet team that just be like, we gonna come out here and get it done. They the San Antonio Spurs of 2024, yo.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I again, I think we've been saying this for years now. The NBA has a serious marketing problem, and the crazy part is, of all of the millions of dollars and talking heads that they have and experts, there's no clear fixer in sight. There's no
Adam
clear
Silver
way of
says
fixing it.
Adam Silver says he's gonna come out and investigate the change in the gameplay. All the 3-pointers being shot because they're averaging like 41 3-pointers a game. Like, that's crazy time, yo. That's crazy
But I
time.
mean,
Like,
yeah, go ahead.
I don't know I don't know what he can do. I mean, the only thing I can think of that would be, I don't think that's anything other than gambling, right? Like, I'm going to take the over if I'm a coach every night and I'm going to draw up plays for threes all night. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to take the, 3-point attempts and I'm going to fucking take the over on that and I'm going to draw up 3-point plays all night, but I'm looking at these scores, yo. 121, 114 last night, Miami, Orlando. 128, 112, Memphis, Atlanta. 104, 93 was like a top end back in the day. That was New York and the Pelicans, but back in the day, that was the top end. Golden State, Minnesota, 113, 103. Boston, 123 to 98. Detroit, Phoenix last night without overtime, 133, 125.
And what are you pointing out here? Too much offense, lack of defense, lack of physicality, lack of toughness, all the things that the league has phased out with the over fouls, the introduction to all of these Euro guys. If he really wants to investigate something, investigate that.
Mhm. That's the other thing too, is what you said is something to keep in mind, is the fouls. Because the game has changed so much to a 3-point game, when someone does go inside, the refs don't know how to fucking officiate it, and they're calling fouls, and it's so inconsistent. I'm looking at the Milwaukee Bucks game last night, right? Milwaukee played Washington, and Giannis didn't play, and the team took a total of 5 free throws. Giannis is averaging 5 free throws a quarter right now. Because you have the one guy who's not physical, who does go to the hole, not playing, their whole team took 5 free throws last night.
Yeah.
They don't know
And
how to
it's also,
officiate it.
yeah, to your point, the inconsistency, you know, I watch guys get ticky tack fouls, then you watch the hard fouls, and it's just like there has to be some type of balance to the game. And then we know, prior to the season, the NBA talks to the refs on how they want them to call these games. So I mean,
Mhm.
Silver, you talking about investigating 3 points, investigate the lack of toughness, the foul calls, in the game. And coaches are gonna coach
Defense.
to what wins. Yeah, the lack of
Mhm.
defense. Coaches
Like,
are
they
gonna
maybe
coach to
they
what wins.
maybe they need to make like defensive player of the year come with some type of stipend to make guys want to like win that award. You know what I mean? But when you watch these games, these dudes are not getting back on defense. They're not trying to block shots, and that, I mean, I think also that's the age of getting postered and put on social media, whatever, right? But I mean, I don't know, man. The NBA has a real problem on their hands. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hopefully, they figure it out.
Do we
Lots.
really care? Do we really care at this point? It's now what, December? I remember just years ago, right? When Melo was on the Knicks. Now, as much shit as I give Melo for his Knicks days, we were a three seed team, not world beaters, whatever. But we would get that spot on Christmas playing Miami. I remember when that was the only shit on TV
Mhm.
and you had to see it. It's now 3 days away from Christmas, and to your point, we waiting for fucking football.
Right. Who's playing on Christmas? I'm gonna look that up because that's the other thing. Like you used to, and so I think that also goes to the matchup thing we talk about, right? Like you used to be able to say they used to be able to market. Oh, on Christmas you got LeBron versus Kobe. You got LeBron versus Kobe. You got Jordan versus Magic. Jordan versus this person. Like Melo always opens up. Used to always open up holidays, and Knicks still do. Like they still open up the holidays, but who's playing on Christmas? Let's see. I would assume, like, if you had to guess off the top of your head without knowing, I'm going to assume Boston is playing on Christmas. I'm going to assume
Dallas, maybe
Dallas might be the nightcap. Maybe like Dallas, Denver might be the nightcap.
Lakers.
Maybe a Milwaukee game, maybe a Lakers game. Those, if I had to guess 4 games, like or 4 teams, let's see who's actually playing. So the
Ooh,
Knicks open up like we expected. Knicks in San Antonio, Dallas, Minnesota, Boston, Philly, Denver, Phoenix, and then Golden State and the Lakers. So we were pretty fucking close, yo.
in
Pretty fucking
Denver and
close.
Phoenix, and Denver,
And
Phoenix,
yep.
night game.
But when I'm looking at it, right, Embiid is out for Philly, so they made the schedule beginning of the year. That Boston Philly game isn't making anybody run to the TV. The New York Knicks in San Antonio, the Knicks always open up because Madison Square Garden, after you've opened your presents and just seeing that is just it just feels good. And same thing on Thanksgiving. After the parade is done, the Knicks open up because Madison Square Garden, you got star power, you got big faces, big names, star row. They're always gonna be there. So that's a good thing. Minnesota, Dallas, no one's running to that game. By that time, football starts. That's a 2:30 game. By that time, Patrick Mahomes is on your TV. So don't even worry about that game. Philly Boston, that game's gonna get washed out by the 4 o'clock. And then you got the Lakers. So LeBron and Steph. I see what they try to do there. It's
Steph.
an 8 o'clock game. So Christmas night, that they might actually get a crowd there for that because football will be just ending. And then that Denver
Mm-hmm.
Phoenix game is gonna be dead because people got to work Thursday. Like
When was the last time you seen 5 games on Christmas?
that too. That
So
too.
now you're trying to force us to watch this shit. Now you're trying to force us. You giving us 5 games because you know the NFL about to cancel out 2 of yours. The bad play, the lack of availability is about to cancel out another. So now you done forced 2 other games down our throat. Pause.
Hey yo.
We had to look it
And
up.
and the NFL, this is how ballsy the NFL is, yo. Yo, the NFL, these niggas gave. So the NFL gave us yesterday's game Saturday. We got today's games for Sunday. There's a Monday night game, right? You take a break Tuesday. Wednesday we come back and they're gonna throw Patrick Mahomes and Lamar back at you, right? Against the Steelers, which has a great fan base, and the Texans are trash, so whatever, but it should be a decent matchup. And then they still didn't cancel the Thursday night game. They're gonna give us a Thursday game too.
Who's on Thursday?
Rod, Roger Goodell is a wild boy. Seattle and the Bears. Seattle and the Bears. And as shitty as that matchup is, and even though we get to watch two really good teams on Wednesday in Kansas City and Baltimore, and even the Steelers, right? People are still gonna run to that Thursday game on the 26th. You don't get your
Playoff
fill of it. You're not
implication.
gonna get you're not gonna get your fill of football on Wednesday and be like, I don't need to watch it Thursday. Basketball, you're gonna get that fill of those guys on Wednesday. And if there are Thursday games in basketball, you may not run to it. You're not saying, I gotta watch the Thursday games. You know what I'm saying? Like
And
Adam
and
Silver, did it
and to
get
your
to it?
point that to your point, Goodell done got so damn disrespectful. That Black Friday game was like,
Right,
damn, they play on Friday too?
right.
Shit.
And I think it, my hot take here is that Adam Silver is and the NBA, but more so Adam Silver is sensitive to and appeals to us, right? To black people, to the non-MAGA, non-racist type shit, right? Black Lives Matter, all of that. And because of that, he has some level of integrity to not sell out his brand. And I think that could also be part of what's happening here, where you got Goodell who is just selling to everybody. He's like, yo, Apple, you want a game? You get 2 games. Netflix, you want a game? Christmas is yours. Bezos, you want a game? I know you suck Trunk's dick, but here, we're gonna give you this game. Like, Goodell don't care. He like, yo, Germany, you want a game? Mexico, you want a game? Like, he like Oprah out there. Hey, you get a game, you get a game. Goodell has he like you can see the difference. You see the difference, man. You got on one side of it, Roger Goodell is Trump, and on the other side of it, Adam Silver is Biden. Clean
Hmm.
guy, about the people, but nobody knows that Adam Silver has done great things. Nobody's touting that. Nobody's reminding people that Adam Silver was the guy that said, "Yo, we need to make sure that we highlight, you know, the fact that police brutality is out of control." Like you know what I'm saying? Like nobody talks about that shit. Nobody talks about it. Same way Democrats, no, they don't come and say, "Yo, we did this. We've done this for you." But on the other side, Goodell, sell her soul.
Yeah.
That's the Trump.
Yeah.
That's the Trump side.
Yeah.
It's
Big
interesting.
business,
It's
baby.
interesting. It is what it is, man. Social issues versus money issues, and NBA more social than anything. I think, as far as sports go.
Big business,
As far,
baby.
yep. Um, today's games. Let's see. Anything noticeable today? Week 16. Kansas City Chiefs clinched the first seed yesterday, so that's a wrap no matter what. NFC though, you got the Lions, Philly, and Minnesota are all 12-2, and if they all win out, the Lions end up in with the 1 seed. But I think because of that, the NFC football is going to be good for the next 3 weeks. I don't think there's any sitting. I don't think there's any resting unless somebody goes on a losing streak. But like I said, the Vikings and Detroit divisional, and they play each other the last week of the season. So playoff implications all the way through for those guys. Today you got Philly and the Commanders.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely crunch time for everybody. Now that KC has locked it up, I mean, if you're Buffalo, are you still fighting for home field at this point?
I was gonna say that like Buffalo's gonna have home field anyway because they're gonna win their division. Um, they're gonna get at least the first game, but they can't get home field over the Chiefs. And I don't think there's anybody looking at the AFC standings. Oh, I'm sorry. Ravens are 10-5. Steelers are 10-5. The Bills are 11-3. So I think if the Bills win today, I think they pretty much locked in the
2
two
spot
seed. Yep. And they got the Patriots today. So that should be a win.
should be win.
And then I don't know if they shut down because they allegedly they just came out today and said Josh Allen's been playing with a broken hand all season. Yeah,
Come on, get the fuck out of
right.
here.
Yeah,
Get the
they
fuck out of here.
they be doing too much. It's like your boy Aaron Rodgers. They came out 2 weeks ago. They like, yo, he got a dislocated ankle and he got a sprained knee, sprained MCL. All right, so y'all basically telling me Aaron Rodgers is playing on one leg. Come on, man. Just say he's having a bad. Just say he's old. Like father time, yo. Father time and pussy. The only two things that are undefeated.
Amen. 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 It's gonna be interesting. If Buffalo locks up that 2 seed, it's gonna be interesting to see what else happens around the league and how the dominoes fall. It's gonna be interesting.
I'm looking at the games that are today, and all these games are pretty much shit. Like Eagles Commanders are a decent game. That's a 1 o'clock. Vikings Seahawks has playoff implications for the Seahawks, so I guess that's a decent game. But other than that, Jags and Raiders,
It's in
that's
Seattle.
trash.
It should be a hard nosed game in Seattle. It should be, you got the battle of the two ex Jet quarterbacks. That's going to be the narrative. It's going to be a tough defensive game.
Hmm.
It'll have implications, because the NFC West is still pretty open. Because any team at this point, other than San Francisco, Arizona, LA, and Seattle, they're all one game from each other, pretty much
Hmm.
here, give or take. So it'll mean something.
Yeah, that means Arizona need to come out and show up against again. Am I looking at the right fucking week? Yeah, I'm looking at the right week. Okay, I'm just making sure I'm not looking at the wrong week. I'm like, damn, these games are trash. Um, okay, okay. Well, we'll see where that goes. We'll see where that
Hmm.
goes. What else is going on in the world of things?
Aside from sports, hmm, I
It's
mean,
been a slow week, man.
we tapped in a little bit on the Remy and Pap situation last week, right?
Hmm.
I mean, just more of that unraveling, and it's just interesting seeing the different podcasts talk about it, but not talk about it. The
Different
JVP,
takes.
the JVP, we're both fans of the JVP, give or take, even though Joe pissed me off, and just conveniently he wasn't there when they talked about it, but just the pivoting and bullshitting that I saw of the JVP talking about the situation was crazy to me. Um, but yeah, it's interesting to see how these people that are friends of Remy, knowing she's dead fucking wrong, still go on here and try to give her some grace. It's interesting.
Pandering, man. Pandering. And not only that, they're pandering not only to her, but they're probably also thinking, staying in the good graces of Fat Joe, who's making his rounds all over the place. Like he did his political thing in 2024. He's had a big year. I could
Hmm.
see Fat Joe landing a fucking TV show off of that. The pandemic show that he did on Instagram Live every night.
Hmm.
Then he last year he did, or this year he was all part of the political stuff. He's been all over the place. Like I could see Joe making a play for himself, and he's a great storyteller. So
Yes, yes. Yo, speaking of that, man, because there's a YouTube out there called Panda Chop, and he interviews pretty much all of the guys that we don't think about in hip hop of the '90s. Like the Cuban Link is one of his biggest interviews. Like the Armageddon guys that was used to be with TS, things like that. Yo, I came to realize, man, I said there's some beefs in hip hop that will never ever go away. Cuban Link and Fat Joe, John 50. It's like,
yep,
yo, these guys will never ever bury the hatchet. Never.
yeah,
It's
50 and
crazy.
John taking that to the grave. 50 and John taking that to the grave. Ain't no, they'll never fix that. Um, who else? I'm trying to think of who else could be.
Cuban Fat Joe. I had others. I can't remember. I mean,
Now Drake and Kendrick. That shit.
Kendrick.
That is to the death, yo. There's no coming back from you telling everybody or out here running around telling everybody I'm a pedo.
Yeah, that's wild. Damon J probably now. Damon J,
Yeah, yeah, that's done. If that
which is
was gonna
sad.
happen, I think it would have done already. Yeah, I think that would have been done already. But yeah, you might be right. That
Yeah,
might be Dunzo.
yeah.
Dunzo.
I just found it amazing though, man. 20 something years later, you know, that's
These guys
just
are still
it's when it's on, it's on.
still having the same garbage beefs, right?
Hmm. I understand Cuban's perspective of it, especially hearing all of the stories. And I think honestly, to your point, with everything that Joe was doing, I think at some point he's going to have to try to fix that because Cuban is not going to stop. And I think it's Joe's. While you have the lawsuit from Pun's family, Joe's kind of been able to mitigate that and keep it, kind of out of a lot of people's mouths. But Cuban's not gonna stop talking about how foul Joe was, and I think Joe growing into the person that he's become now. I think you can tell when he's talking about it or they avoid talking about it. I think he feels some kind of way about it. But the thing is, as uh as famous as he's getting, certain things are gonna follow you. Certain things are gonna have to be addressed. And while people don't really care, a lot of people don't care about Cuban Link and what happened to him. I just think for him to really come full circle, he's probably gonna have to make that happen one day. He's probably gonna have to. I don't know if he will,
Yeah,
but he might.
yeah. I think the problem that you have is that in society, people don't believe it, or tend to question things that come from the everyday person, like a Cuban link who's an everyday person. Like we know that he was around them. People know that he was around Joe, but you know, people think of that. A lot of his stuff is, you know, ex girlfriend scorn type of feel. You know what I mean? Which is
Hmm.
unfortunate. It really is because there's some truth to some of the stuff that you hear about these guys, and you just don't trust or believe the guys that are telling you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a lot of truth, and it's a thing people don't care. They didn't. You didn't become their favorite. You don't. They're more loyal to the success than they are the people. So people don't care that happened. And unfortunately for him, that's what it is. Because I feel bad for him. He had a phenomenal. He was one of those guys, man. He was very talented. That 24 carat, 24K album was a fire album that got shelved. So I feel kind of robbed a little bit. And I mean, if I'm him, I would feel like my success and my potential career was stifled as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And I can see why Nori would appreciate Fat Joe because, if Cuban Link really took off, there might not have been a lane for Nori at that point.
yeah,
You know what I mean? There might not have been
yeah,
a lane for Nori as a
yeah. I think
solo artist, at least.
that's a little bit of the change that you have today in hip hop that you from what it used to be, right? Like it used to be the guy like Fat Joe who they might be about it, but they not like about it. Like you know what I mean? Like Link and Sace and those guys, those were the guys that toted the guns and they got to it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Hmm.
And the big name person was they were there and they were in the shits, but they wasn't, it was protect this person at all costs. And today we're seeing that movement or that shift from Dirk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Dirk is on trial. Young Thug just came off a trial.
Mhm.
Luckily, the state fucked that up. Otherwise, he might have went to sleep for a little bit. He might lay
Mhm.
down for quite some time. Um, you know, the dudes that are in that shit today are actually the star. So I
The
think
money
that
makers, yeah.
yeah, I think that kind of hurt um Cuban Link a little bit was he was the one that was always about the shits. And you can be about the shits and be good at music, but if nobody wants to surround themselves with you because you're a liability, that's how you end up where I think where he ended up. You know what I'm saying? Where today people are okay with dealing with that risk a little bit. They're all right with, I'll take the risk if it means that we gonna get there.
That's a very fair point. It's a very fair point. It's almost like labels want to crash. I don't want to call him a crash out, but labels want the crash out behavior before anything else. Whereas in the past, they realized I would say they probably realized the monetary value of it later on in a lot of people's careers. And now it's just with social media, it's even more lucrative for them to have that on display.
Hmm.
So yeah.
You see the lawyer that was trying to take the case against Jay Z. It was alleged to come out this week that he gave a young lady an STD knowingly.
No, I didn't see that.
I forget his name. You might be able to find it because we probably should say his name because of the scumbag that he is. Um,
Sheesh.
but he came up with that false case against Jay Z, saying that him and Diddy, essayed a 13-year-old at a party one time after, what was it, the Grammys or the Source Awards? It was after a fucking award show.
His name is
Um,
Tony Busby.
Tony Busby. Then he came out and said, Jay Z was bullying him and Rock Nation was bullying him and yada yada yada. And Jay was like, it's easy for Jay as a billionaire to be like, fuck it, I'm gonna just pay this hush money and make this go away. But he didn't. He didn't. He came out and was like, yo, if I'm guilty of it, then why don't you charge me? You know what I mean? Don't go for a civil suit. Go for a
Hmm.
criminal suit. Come and get me. And then the girl comes out. She starts telling her story. There's so many holes in it. So, you kind of can see that it's fabricated and made up. And even her father came out and was like, "Yeah, I don't recall a lot of that stuff happening. I love my daughter, but she a liar. You know what I mean? Like her father said that shit. Um, so this week, and so once you do that, right? That's the thing. You take a shot, you can't miss. So Busby missed, and so now that you've missed, now you got petty ass motherfuckers like Jay. Like we know Jay is petty to drop an album every time Nas drops an album. Oh, Nas came out with a song. Look at that, Jay came out with a song. Like,
Hmm.
um, so now you're gonna have everything. Any dirt that you had is gonna come out. And so this week it came out that a young lady says that Busby, would you say his first name is Jake? Is that what it was?
Tony. Tony Busby.
Tony Busby came out to say that he knowingly gave her an STD and then tried to pay her to keep it quiet.
Yeah, he responded saying it was it's a smear campaign, no pun intended. But yo, like VP brought up, last week is one of the wealthiest ways in this nation is to sue someone, and their whole situation is nasty. And shout out to Jay Z. If he is where he is and innocent of being involved in anything, shout out to for making it more difficult for these clout and money chasers to do what they do, and really muddying the waters for people that really deserve attention to these issues.
Hmm. Um, no real new news on the Diddy front, like little bullshit, fucking tabloid news and shit that he's running to jail and he's not eating or because he wants to make a statement and stuff like that. But I forget when was his trial scheduled for, like April? I think it's like early next year sometime.
I have no clue.
Um, but every request for bail that he makes gets declined, which is extremely unfortunate, yo. To me, it's unfortunate because, like, I get it, you got victims and stuff like that, but I mean, I thought we lived in a place where you're innocent until proven guilty. You know what I mean? And so if you're innocent until proven guilty and you're charging me for it, then I should be entitled, like everyone else, to bail.
Yeah, and a lot of attorneys are saying they are reading the paperwork and they don't believe his case will hold up at all. Um, and at this point, it kind of just seems like a smear campaign for him. Um, but I don't really feel anything for Puff. I don't feel anything for him. Especially with what he did with Cassie and all the other things that he seemingly and allegedly did. I don't feel anything for him. But to your point, if you're gonna make me guilty of something, at least get it right. And
Yep.
don't seem like they got it right.
The only problem I have with him is it just says to me that if you've got one of the most wealthy people in the world and they can bend the rules and treat him like that in the sense of you don't get bail, you know what I mean, you're stuck in here until we say otherwise. Um, then that could happen to any of us, right? Like, and
Absolutely.
we always talk about the stand your ground law and stuff like that. And anytime we see the stand your ground law, it's never one of us standing our ground. It's always, you know what I mean? A old white person, or whatever that are getting away with it, or the
Absolutely.
Zimmermans of the world. And people always say, well, and I always say, well, if it actually falls under stand your ground and the person gets away, I support it. You know what I mean? Because it's a law, it's a rule, right? And then I don't know if it's you or VP always say, well, do you think it would be the same for you? And I've always said, well, I would hope so, because I would plan to take advantage of it if I ever needed to. I mean, we just saw it with Jordan Neely. We saw.
Yeah, no, it definitely highlights the inadequacies of the justice system against our people. And no matter if he's a scumbag or not, the letter of the law is supposed to reign supreme and be equal and fair for everyone. Diddy can be a piece of shit, but if you're not prosecuting this guy for anything, substantial, then it is a problem. It is a problem. And it was lined up perfectly. We had the Cassie stuff, get released to really show the world on how much of a monster he could be, and then everything was levied on him. So, I mean, I think you have a fair point saying, if they can get they can get him with all this money, then they can get anybody. No one is safe, and I think that's a point that I always make all the time, that I don't trust this government. We want to complain and cry about what it's going to be now under this new administration, but I always say, when was it ever a good time for Black folks? Because we've had so many incidents across the nation, the Sandra Bland's, the Trayvons. We had so many instances across the nation, no matter who was in administration, that this shit happens. You know what I'm saying? So again, I don't think as a people we can be safe, regardless of the money, regardless of who's in administration or anything. The justice system doesn't really bend or supply justice for our people equally as it does others.
Yeah, yeah. Biden pardoned somebody else this week too, didn't he?
I don't know, man. I could care
He need to
less.
pardon my student loans. That's what he need to do.
Yeah, and I could care less. I mean, yeah.
And
We talk about as constituents the issues that matter to us, right? And I kind of feel let down. So that's all I know.
kind of, yeah, yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. We'll leave the political banter for VP next week. He could start the year fresh with his or end the year fresh with his takes. Um, and he can talk about the debt ceiling and all that shit that took place, and the government shutdown being uh avoided and all that fun stuff. That'll be his thing for
Hmm.
next week.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's been a quiet week, man. Quiet week. You got any plans for Christmas? What are you doing? You staying in the crib, or you going to Washington, or
Nah, I'm being in the house. I'm being in the house, man. Avoiding the crazy people out here.
kids
It is
coming over?
crazy out here. Yeah, yeah. They'll be over late, later in the day. Um, yeah, we'll rock out. We'll do our thing. I'll probably take them out Monday night to Christmas Village and see the lights and shit like that out here. But everything's lined up for them. Just waiting for Wednesday to get here, and I'm a chill. you know. I need to get
put
to a
him to sleep
point
early.
where nah, they I put me to sleep. I need to get to a point where I have enough leave where it's like I need to use it or lose it being a government employee. Because people get to this time of the year and they just take off for 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Hmm.
I need to get to that point. Um, but that's a heavy sacrifice, man. Not taking off throughout the year and finessing your way to not having days off. That's a heavy sacrifice, man. And I don't know that I could do that.
Yeah, I mean, I got the time, but I'm saving it for next year. We
Hmm.
carry over, so I'm gonna carry some time over and then plan some shit for next year. And but yeah, nothing too crazy going on for me. I got the 26th. I'll be off the day after Christmas.
Hmm.
I'm gonna work tomorrow, probably work from home on Tuesday, and then I'm off on Christmas Day. And
Hmm.
maybe Tuesday go see might end up like sliding in and go see Mufasa or something.
Yeah, you got Sonic 3 out. You got Mufasa. Disney right now, man. Between Wicked and now Mufasa, they're trying to rewrite everyone's theories
Holiday.
of they trying to rewrite all of the stories that we thought we knew. You know what I mean? Like,
They gotta clean it up. They gotta clean it up before somebody, before the woke mob comes through and starts finding shit. You know what I mean? Like,
hmm
why did Mufasa have to be a male and be the king? Why couldn't we have? You know what I mean? Like, this is, you know how they be doing.
well,
Uh,
I mean, I don't know. I'm looking to see, because based on the trailers we see, it's like Scar was supposed to be the king, right? So how did this happen? Where did
no, Scar's
everything?
black. Scar's to me, I've always looked at Scar as the black stepbrother. You know what I mean? Like, remember the Good Son with Macaulay Culkin
Mhm.
and I forget the other kid's name. That-
Elijah Wood? I
That's kind of how I
feel like it's
see
Elijah
the
Wood.
Mufasa story. Like, between Mufasa and Scar, I feel like Scar was, you know, he was the son that probably used to go out and smoke weed with his friends, and like if they were people, they should have made the Mufasa story like people. That
Mm.
would have been a different. That would be a different take. You know what I mean? Like
I'm
they
interested
they
to see.
definitely they
I'm
definitely had
interested to
mixed
see.
parents. You know what I'm saying? Like Mufasa and Scar had mixed parents. Probably the
Well,
mom,
well,
the mom.
we find out now Mufasa was adopted into Scar's family.
Oh, you watched it already?
No, the trailers tell you this shit.
Oh, I don't watch. I'm not watching the trailer on something I love. Y'all not gonna mess Mufasa up on me. Like I still cry when Mufasa, when that thing happens to him in in Lion King. Every time
Yeah,
I
that
see it.
that was traumatic. That was
Sometimes I just
traumatic.
stop the shit. I just stop and be like, all right, I can't finish this shit. I can't, yo, that shit was the saddest shit ever, yo. Mufasa, that's one of the only movies I cry at is Lion King when Mufasa died. So y'all
Yeah,
not
that
gonna
shit was
mess that
traumatic.
up for me. Y'all not gonna fuck that up for me. I still mess with Swoop. But
That's a good strategy though, because a lot of these trailers today really give away way too much information. Way
I
too
forget what I
much.
was watching. Oh, I was watching last night I watched My Little Secret, I think it's called. Um it's a Christmas movie on Netflix.
Hmm.
And the trailer gives away like the secret. It's like, come on, man. Like, when you watch and you be like, oh, that might be. Yo, did you watch? Speaking of watching, you watched the new season of Ultimatum?
No, I didn't.
Yo, you
I
gotta watch the
didn't.
new season of Ultimatum.
I might have to watch that.
It's a
I might have to
savage
watch
on
that.
there.
I might have to
He's
watch that.
savage. He a little sweet when he be talking. There's a dude named JR on there. Um, he he is savage, yo. Episode like you could tell from episode 1, 2, like he is there for business. He is there for business. Um, but but sometimes he sound a little sweet sometimes. Like sometimes you're like, are you sure this you? You
Right.
know,
Right. They just didn't meet up for star purposes.
right? You gotta watch it though, because this season is crazy. You got that dude. And there's another dude on there. He's definitely like uh he's got multiple personalities, no question. Like sometimes you'd be like, yo, this is a nice ass dude. Like, I could see like he treats his girl so good. And then the next episode he be spazzing the fuck out on her, yo. Like, and they not even a couple. Like they didn't come in
Mm.
together. They're temporary married and shit. Like you gotta see that shit.
Yeah,
Oh man.
I try to avoid that stuff these days because it's just like I be watching like the divorce court episodes, and it's like I just can't. Not the divorce court, the paternity court joints. I just my mind, I just can't. I can't take it. Can't take it.
Shit,
I
shit
can't
makes
take it.
it dark
The
for you.
betrayal. Yeah, just I just go down the rabbit hole. Like, no, I can't take it. But I did start watching a Peacock series called the Jackal. The first episode was pretty solid. I would recommend that. First episode was pretty solid.
The Jackal.
Hmm. Spy
Hmm.
espionage, not spy, but basically a MI6 officer trying to find a world assassin. So the first episode is pretty fucking compelling, to be honest.
Hmm.
So yeah.
And it's on Peacock.
Hmm. Yep.
All
Yep.
right, I'm gonna check it out. Oh, it's a black guy on the cover. Oh no, it's a woman.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
Black woman and a white dude.
Yes.
Why, why are you laughing?
Said it's a black guy. No. No. No.
No, because when I pulled it up, it was zoomed all the way in, so all I saw was like nose and eyebrows and shit. And then when I zoomed it out, I could see that it's actually a woman.
Black features. That's all you saw.
I saw brown skin, dog. And
Terrible.
that's all I saw when I pulled it up. Like you pulled up, zoomed in, and you were talking about, oh, it's a guy that is trying to take over, take down a world beater or some shit. And I'm like, oh, okay, so clearly the fucking cover only has one person on it. No,
I never said guy. I never said guy. I just said an MI6 officer. Never said guy.
which is what is MI6? What's that usually?
You're
Right,
horrible. You're horrible.
exactly,
James
exactly.
Bond's boss in MI6 was always a woman. All right,
She,
never mind. Never mind.
yeah,
Never mind.
yeah, she was. She, yeah, you seen Charlie's Angels, right?
You're horrible, yo.
Uh,
You're
yep.
horrible, yo.
Um, what else? I haven't watched anything else. A couple Christmas things here and there, Ultimatum, and that show, or that movie, My Little
Hmm.
Secret. But definitely
Hmm.
Christmas season time. I'll probably get into start Home Alone now this week. Start my Home Alone binges, and um, of course the Christmas movie or Christmas Story is
Indeed.
coming.
Indeed.
That is a thing. That's a thing. Um. All right. Oh no, one other thing. Remember I told you guys I really wanted to watch it. What's it called? Papa's House. Papa's House. Papa's
With
House with
Damon Wayans,
Damon Wayans, and Damon Wayans Jr. It's
I
good.
watched it a couple times. It's okay.
It's good. And it got old girl in it too.
Mm, it's okay. Ain't nothing to stop the pot about.
You just don't. You just don't like black people. Yo. You racist.
You stopped it like it was must see TV. No sir. No
It
sir.
is. Nigga, you watch the Jackal.
All right,
You watch the
watch the first episode. You gonna be
you
hooked
watch
in.
the Jackal that got somebody. I couldn't even tell if it was a man or a woman when I seen the picture. Papa's House. Definitely watch it.
No, I watched a couple episodes. It's not when I'm gonna line up every week. I watched a couple episodes though. It's
I
good to see
binged it.
Damon Wayans doing this thing.
I don't like his son. Let me tell you about. Let me rewind because that sounds bad. I don't want to say I don't like his son. He's not. I don't like him. I don't think he's funny. I don't think his son is funny. Damon Wayans Jr. I
No,
don't. I don't.
but he captures that white audience because he does a lot of white comedic movie roles, and I feel like that's his lane, that white comedy role, that white comedy lane. So I think he captures that white audience. Shout out to them. You know what I mean? It's good to have a father son combo. That family itself. That family being successful is always a good thing.
Yeah, that's a success story that somebody has to do like a documentary on for Black people in general. Is Dwayne, and they need to do it. Like, what are they waiting for? You know what I'm saying? That's a success story that you need to be teaching to your family. As Black people because they stick by one another. Keenan Ivory done put everybody on. Everybody. You got
Yeah,
the
man.
name Wayne. You in. We're gonna put you in. And forget about the people that he's helped catapult and otherwise, like Jamie Foxx and fucking
Jennifer Lopez, Jim Carrey,
J, Jim Carrey.
Tommy Davidson, David Allen Greer.
Hmm.
The list goes on and on and on and on. And I
Hmm.
mean, that's just from the Living Color show, not to mention all of the things he's produced over time. Shit, Rosie Perez. The list goes on and on and on and on.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Keenan Ivory Waynes and the Waynes family, man.
Yeah.
Definitely some people, a family to look up to
Mm-hmm.
for
Black
our
family,
future.
that is.
Indeed, indeed. All right, it's 11:30. I think we're in a good spot. About an hour and a half. I need to go prep and see if I'm gonna actually keep my fantasy lineups the way they are. But I have to win this week, or I'll never hear the end of it from you. So strategy, gotta figure it out. I wish I had started. I wish I started Tank Dell. Really mad about that. Really mad.
I know it. I know it. I know it. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. Thank you, sir.
I am pissed
Thank
off.
you, sir.
I am appalled. All right. Well, um, December 22nd, Merry Christmas to everybody out there. As VP would say, 'tis the season. A lot of people dealing with mental health issues right now. If they have mental health issues, it's probably magnified to a 10, right now because of the season, holiday season in general. So check on your people, make the phone call, have the conversations. Uh, for those that did chime in or check in today, we appreciate you doing so. Like, follow, comment. You can find us on any platform if you search for Castworthy, Castworthy. If you're looking to interact with us on social media, the best place is going to be Instagram at Castworthy_podcast. And like, subscribe, comment, love, hate, whatever you feel. And otherwise we'll be back next Sunday. Again, have a Merry Christmas if you're into Christmas, and if you don't celebrate Christmas, enjoy your day off anyway because of Christmas. And we'll be back next Sunday. We are out of here. We appreciate the listeners. Peace.
Peace.